The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. That's right, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rawchaa, and yes, you are invited into a brand new installment, 3 months of serious information with our Hebrew and Bible Academy starting February 6th. Hope to see you there. There's a lot we'll be going into. And since now we've gotten our our time constraints, at a certain level in which we're out early now, right? We've pressed it into a time in which people can still enjoy their day. We're trying to keep it within 3 o'clock, right? We have Elder Lawya with the Hebrew, Elder Shabbat and I come in with the news, and then subsequent to that, the lesson. It's quite convenient, it's efficient, it's right on your phone or on your laptop, whatever device you might use. And on top of that, we send you the information, you click in, and you're in our class. It's quite that simple. And what I'm going to try to do, since we're within time constraints now for the academy and we're not going over, I'm going to try to make it where at least for about 15 minutes, okay, if we can end the class before 3 o'clock, all right? We'll take 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to take in calls from our Hebrew and Bible Academy members, right? They may have a question concerning that particular lesson, and we find the experience is better when it's one-on-one and engagement. So more so what we're going to try to do, we're going to make sure we try to pull in people through an audio or through blog or whatever, so that we can interact real time with some of those who've been a part of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. So we're going to add that dynamic also. So I hope to see you there. We're going to be going into a lot of new lessons. It's 3 full months of serious information that you can't find anywhere, really compacted into a one-day lesson. You'll learn more in one day, right? Like, for instance, we'll go into the conversions, all of the other races of people who have ever converted into Judaism. Well, what was it before Judaism? You're going to find, brothers and sisters, they took our way of life, okay? They took an ideology that was given directly from the Most High to a people and turned it into an all-inclusive Babylonian religion. I'm going to be going into that. When did the Europeans begin to call themselves Jews? When did the Israelites begin to not realize that our people or the Israelites, when did we begin to lose our national origin, our ancient national origin? How will the angels, another thing, move us into certain parts of the earth during the war? Where is the Ark of the Covenant? And when and will the Most High return it to us or the Israelites, and or when will we receive the Ark of the Covenant back? All of that and more. And I'll be going into a new secrets of the times. So you don't want to miss that. So I wanted to make sure we give that update for February 6th. I hope to see you all there. Now, today I'm just doing a quick update before I segue into Patreon. Okay, February 6th, for those who don't know, historytimes.org, if you would like to be a part of this. And one thing about the Academy, no one lesson is the same. So if you were in the Academy beforehand, right? If you were in the Academy beforehand, brothers and sisters, you all know, even though the lessons are titled the same, it's never the same. I always bring, through the Spirit of the Most High, a new dynamic to every Academy. And I make a conscious effort to make sure each lesson is different, regardless of the title. So every time we do a new lesson, like the creation of the universe, something new is brought out that wasn't brought out prior. Okay, so make sure you're there. historytimes.org. It starts February 6th, which is the week after next. Okay. Another thing I wanted to make an announcement with is, yes, we are taking pre-orders, brothers and sisters. We're taking pre-orders for our brand new calendar, okay? The True Sabbath calendar according to the 364-day cycle, okay? There's no 365 and a quarter and all this stuff they're doing with their calendars. The only reason you have leap years and all this other stuff is because the Romans begin to change laws and times, like it reads in Daniel 7:25. Because they didn't want to deal with a year according to the solar and lunar together, which is 52 Sabbaths in a year, they started changing the courses by making lunar calendars and messing up the calendar where the days come in about 10 days short and twisted time, when really all time is calculated with the number 7. And that's what the Most High has allowed us to do, to go back in time before Julius Caesar and all these other wicked Edomites began to mess with the Most High's calendar, so that he could throw off the Sabbaths and holy days that the Gentiles know our people must stay in obedience to. So there's no holidays, there's holy days according to the Bible. And the Romans try to throw things off by setting a calendar that would do what? That would throw off the original time since creation, which is a calculation of 7. Well, you don't have to worry about calculating. We went back into the history, the time of the calendars before the flood, and now we're introducing to everyone. You can keep your regular dates too on the calendar, but the Sabbaths and the holy days are in place. They're totally in place within this calendar. So if you can pre-order it, I seen it. We proofed it today. It's quite nice, brand new. You can go to gatheringofchrist.org and do your pre-order so that you can have that calendar to calculate times according to the heavens. Okay, when you see the Jewish calendar where they are celebrating Passover, they're not celebrating Passover on the day of Passover according to the heavens. When you see the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the memorial blowing of the trumpets, the tabernacles, they threw all the times off. They're Romans. Okay, the only thing that they got right out of everything when it comes to their calendars is that the Sabbath falls Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's the only holy day that's correct under Judaism. Everything else, they're using the titles of our holy days of the Old Testament. But their holy days fall on a Roman or ancient Babylonian day outside of the time that the heavens are actually dealing in those holy days. The holy days were set up before Moses in heaven. So that and more will be discussed. Of course, I'm going into the secrets of the times in our new Hebrew and Bible Academy, and to go in depth with all the old calendars and all that to show you the proof of the real calendar. And it so happens the Most High bestowed that calendar on this church, and we're making it available to you. Okay. Go to gatheringofchrist.org. You will see the calendar there. Get your calendar. This way you can keep your regular schedules, but also know what day within the 364-day cycle the holy days fall on. Okay. So the calendar's there. Make sure you do your pre-orders by going to gatheringofchrist.org. Now, also, one more update, if we may. One moment here. The weekend of March 19th is the True Passover. Okay. We will be having the Passover in Pittsburgh, if it be the Most High's will. And the name of that particular, one moment. I think I wrote it down here. The name of that particular convention center for our Passover. Let me put it up here. The name, it's going to be grand. The sound people, we have them in tow, so it's going to be very nice for this Passover. The name of this particular center in Pittsburgh is the David Lawrence Convention Center in Pittsburgh. Now, you have to be a baptized member to be a part of it, okay? And all of the how one would actually be a part of this particular gathering. We're going to have one here and one on the West Coast. But in order for you to be involved in this, you must be a baptized member. So a lot of people are going to be baptized beforehand, and we may arrange some baptisms during the week of this particular Passover. The David Lawrence Center, and it will be guided locally, which means I'm not the one dealing with the administration because this is a national thing. It's handled on a local level, okay? So if you are a part of the church in your locale, there will be announcements on how you can actually go online and book, okay, your seats and all that. Now, when it comes to this convention center, it's not attached to a hotel, so people would need to book their accommodations up front. But man, this is going to be I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be one of the greatest Passovers. The layout is real nice. It gives people space. The acoustics are very nice. And hey, Sister Shirley is working on a new play. And we actually have the sound people, everything. It's going to be a great weekend for this particular Passover. So just wanted to let you know, but this will be handled on the local level where our churches are, okay? If you're baptized and you're not in a local area, don't worry about it. You will send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com, and a regional elder that's over the region, whether it be the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, it doesn't matter. Someone will reach you to let you know you are baptized members. Because you're a baptized member, this is how you can go about joining us for the Passover, okay? So it's going to be grand. So wanted to put that out there, and this will be the weekend of March 19th, okay? I hope to see you all there. We're going to praise the Most High. It's going to be a grand time. And you're going to notice that a lot of others aren't actually dealing with the Passover on this particular day because they're not following the original 364-day calendar. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let's go into what I'll be talking about on Patreon. It's time to segue now. let's segue. Let's play a little game. Here's an anagram. Let's do a little word mixing, if you will. When you put together the word Delta and under Delta the word Omicron, let's do a little anagram. When you unscramble the words, it comes out to what? Yes, when you unscramble Delta and Omicron, it spells media control. Now that's just an anagram, okay? I mean, it's probably a coincidence. This is probably a coincidence that when you put the word Delta and Omicron as an anagram, it actually spells media control. Just some interesting stuff, just some tidbits. Just something to think about. Like Arsenio Hall used to say, I don't know if I'm showing my age, that the things that make you go, the things that makes you go, well, it's probably a coincidence, who knows? But that's not what I'm going to talk about in particular. That's not what I'm going to talk about particular in our updates for Patreon. One thing I like about Patreon, we can go on and, the members are there and we can discuss a few things that, that sometimes we can't discuss freely in an open, free society today. But anyway, I thought we would put that up there first. That, just play a little word game yourself. Put these words together, unscrambling, and see if you come up with what we came up with. Now, since we're dealing with the unscrambling of words, let me show you what exactly what we'll be going into in a couple of seconds. A couple of seconds on Patreon. Okay. Patreon is the same as you see right there. Patreon.com/agathering144. Just get on Patreon and you'll be able to see this. A lot of you don't know what's going on within the news, so I thought I would just at least give you an update of what we'll be discussing. Supreme Court's welcome rejection of Biden's COVID vaccine mandate. A lot of you probably didn't know this existed, but I'm going to be going into this. That really things were being said from a pulpit, a media pulpit. And people thought that because it was being said that they were obligated to do it. When really no one at any time, brothers and sisters, was forced to do anything. No one was forced to wear masks. No one was forced to get a medical procedure. And guess what? Even your jobs, they never force you to take tests. But what does this mean for people who believed that they had to? I'm going to be talking about that and more because now the narrative is switching now. The narrative is switching, but who knows what this means for people who have already, got the stuff. I'm going to leave it there. What else will we be discussing? Local news. A Houston Methodist doctor who resigned following suspension over controversial CV-19 tweets believe hospital is targeting her. Now, these are some local news things that's being suppressed that you will never hear on CNN or mainstream media. Okay, but it is news. It's regular local news from Houston, and I'm going to talk about this and more briefly on Patreon. Next thing, last but not least, we're going to play this video on Patreon. Some Australian states are now banning Christians. Oh, yeah, here we go. I knew this time would come. Did you? Oh, yeah. This is where we are now, brothers and sisters. This is big. Why? Because the Satanists are really those who are over a lot of these institutions that are pushing, that is pushing what we're witnessing right now. This is a holy war. This is a spiritual war. Now, in Australia, some Australian states are now banning Christians because they disagree with government. I don't know if it have anything to do with that little pesky mark of the beast that they're about to roll out, which is, at the end of the day, the infrastructure have been put in place right up under our nose through this last event. So I don't know if it has anything to do with those who are standing on their religious rights. I don't know if it has anything to do with that. I'm not sure. But Australia, first something happened where there was some gun control things that took the guns from Australians years ago. Right? Where law-abiding citizens can't even defend themselves with the right to bear arms. And then eventually they were able to press them in certain areas of Australia and force them and quarantine them in their homes under the event. And now they're just coming outright against those who believe in Christ. And I'm going to be talking about this and more on Patreon. Brothers and sisters, this is the holy war. And those who actually complied when they didn't have to, you chose a side. And there's some stuff that's boosting people, that's bringing them closer and closer, that's pushing them further and further away from the Almighty. It's darkening the people's hearts. Dark matter. So I'm going to be talking about that and more on Patreon. I thank you all for joining us. And in the midst of these particular media circulations that I'll be going over, right? These particular points. We're going to have the phone calls open simultaneously for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay? Because I know some people wanted to say a few things last Wednesday, the other day, but weren't able to. So I'm going to open up the lines while we're dealing in our Patreon discussions and really interact with brothers and sisters, because some people out there would like to know, well, what can I do in the midst of this? I'll say this. It's time for people, individuals, brothers and sisters, to begin to segue off of the dependency of, I'm going to say this to you all, the dependency that comes with employment. Okay, this is how they're going to control people. It was always through the workforce that would dictate the progression of agendas from one society to the next. It was about the workforce. Slavery was turned into what? Prison. It was all about the slave labor and control of people through employment, leading to the mark of the beast, where no one will be able to buy or sell unless they have it. So it's all about control. It's all about the corporate structure threatening what? Your livelihood. See, that's a form of control. So especially for believers, it's while you still have work and all that, you have to understand those that control things use money to make money, not just with investments. They're not just dealing in getting money to pay bills. And it's time for our people to start segueing, finding ways of putting your money into something tangible where you have food, shelter, and raiment, regardless of what happens out here. It's time for us to restructure, reconstruct our mind when it comes to the dependency on employment. Okay? People are going to have to start thinking about small businesses for themselves. Food, whatever the case is, keep in mind, if you have a stove, an oven, a refrigerator, understand that if you have a stove, a refrigerator, a flat top, a fryer, understand that you have a restaurant. Understand that. Only thing you have to do is get your LLC, do what you can, and guess what? The majority of things are takeout anyway. Make yourself a nice menu, even if you have to pay someone to do it, and boom, you're on your way. If you own a tractor or a lawnmower, you have a business. If you own a pickup truck, you can use a pickup truck for many lines of business. You can make a business card where you can move things for people, dump things for people. A pickup truck in of itself is a business that can be parked right outside. It's time for brothers and sisters to it's the changing of the time. The more dependent we are on employment, the more we're forced into compliance. Now, in this mandate, and I have to put this out there because I wouldn't just put this out there for our brothers and sisters on Patreon, because this, what I'm about to say, will affect our people, predominantly the poor, who don't know what's going on, who don't know any better. So I have to put this out there. Through all these mandates, the next thing that's going to happen is they're going to begin to suppress and press on our people who are on Medicaid and Medicare. Because under these federal guidelines, even though the Supreme Court has ruled that what the government has been doing is unconstitutional. It's illegal. It's borderline illegal. Trying to force the job to make you take a test or get something. Okay? Even though the Supreme Court has actually allowed this, I read between the lines to see what they will allow. And what they will allow is for people that's working in hospitals, federal controlled institutions, to have to comply, along with people who are receiving any level of federal subsidies through Medicaid, Medicare, EBT, the same things I was saying over a decade ago, where the poor is going to be forced to comply to this stuff, or chance losing what? Their homes, their place of living. Our people don't have anything as it is. A lot of us are on public assistance, public housing. Folks, this is where the quote unquote Biden administration now is targeting. And they're not telling anybody, so I thought I would tell you that. They're going to be targeting those that are on EBT, Section 8, Medicaid, and Medicare, because now, since you're taking something from the government, you must comply. So you forgo your freedoms for taking something from the federal government. And I'm going to be talking about that and more. So it's time to start segueing, brothers and sisters. As you can see, these updates are very important, very important. So what I'm going to do now, I thank you all for your time. Stay prayed up, sin not. Hope you have a great Sabbath. We are about to segue over. It's only going to be 30 minutes. We're about to segue over into our Patreon. Stay strong, brothers and sisters. Stay strong. Stay prayed up. Sin not. We will soon see Zion. Bless you. Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard